Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the Other Games channel, back with another Goosebumps book review. And today we're going to be taking a look at book number 9 of the Goosebumps original series, titled Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Now, first thing I want to say about this particular copy I have, this is of course, like all the books I've reviewed so far, this is a reprint from the mid-2000s. And I do want to point out the artwork that's on the reprints for Welcome to Camp Nightmare is actually flipped. So basically the original 90s cover is basically just, the reverse of this. Or should I say, this cover is the reverse of what the 90s cover was, which is meant to be the right way of looking at it, let's just say. Which, funny enough, while I'm looking at myself with the camera, like, I can kind of see, like, how the cover's reversed, and, basically what I'm seeing, from the camera is basically what the cover was supposed to look like, in the 90s. So I am kind of thinking about getting eventually the 90s cover of Welcome to Camp Nightmare with the correct position artwork. Of course, this wouldn't be the last time, we've had a Goosebumps book from these like reprints that have had reversed artworks. But with the artwork out of the way, oh, by the way, the book's also in pretty good condition, by the way. I should mention that. Although, something else I want to point out, I often tend to look at the back of these Goosebumps books. I noticed that it has like a UK price tag on there. It says like £3.99, which makes me wonder if these reprints ever made it to the UK, which is interesting because, the first 32 books of the original Goosebumps had like different artwork than the American versions, so I don't know, interesting. But anyways, with that rambling out of the way about the book cover, let's actually talk about the book itself. The book itself, for like 95% of it was, pretty good, I would say. There was a lot of tension throughout the book. By the way, I might as well just mention, what the story is all about, which, be warned, there's probably gonna be some spoilers as usual. The story of Welcome to Camp Nightmare is about, of course the lights go out. Thankfully it's still pretty light outside. What? Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, basically the story of the book involves this, this kid named Billy and a bunch of others that like go to this camp called Camp Night Moon. And throughout the course of the events of the book, people start like disappearing, weird events start going on. Every now and then there's been like various like howls of at Camp Night Moon by this creature that, according to the counselors of the camp, is called Saber. And we've had like, probably like 1 or 2 encounters with that creature in the story. And this book, for the most part, was pretty good up until the very end. Like, the ending of this book, honestly, in my opinion, was kind of what ruined basically the nice like tension that like was kind of prevalent throughout that whole entire book. So basically, the end of the book was revealed that basically what Billy was going through at Camp Night Moon was all a test. It was all a test done by both of his parents, who were like scientists, and everybody who was involved, the camp counselors and the other kids at the camp, they were all actors. It was all pretend. And it was revealed by the main camp counselor, Uncle Al, that the main reason why they had this test for Billy was that his parents were planning on taking him on a trip to study Earth. So not only did the story reveal that like the events of that whole entire, book was like all staged, but the fact that they don't live on Earth, they're on a different planet of some sorts. And that part is just like, what? Like, I can understand like the whole like, this being all staged and whatnot, but like the fact that they're on a different planet, I don't know. That part really threw me off, especially since they're like, obviously the book itself, mentions like various like real life, well, I should say Earth, related stuff like snakes and all that mumbo jumbo, I guess. But yeah, that ending, kind of ruined a lot of, this book. Didn't make the book bad at all. The book's still pretty good, but like that ending just, it just ruined it for me. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. I know like one other person on YouTube who like also feels that way about the book. And I'll talk a little bit about this in this review, but I'll talk about the TV episode this was based off, because I did actually watch the TV episode of Welcome to Camp Nightmare before reading the book, so unfortunately I already kind of knew what the ending was of this story before actually reading the story. But yeah, that ending though, did not like it one bit. And you know, I'll just talk about the TV episode right now. So the TV episode of Welcome to Camp Nightmare in the Goosebumps TV series from, you know, the mid-90s had a two-part episode based on Welcome to Camp Nightmare. And you know, I would say, like, unlike the Haunted Mask, where like they only removed like one like major scene from that book for the TV episode, like Welcome to Camp Nightmare, they removed like a good portion of stuff from the TV episode. Like the book version had a scene where like Billy, his camp counselor Larry, and like two new kids that he met out of nowhere were on a canoe trip. That wasn't in the TV episode. Also, rather than meeting two girls from the camp in the book, which by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier in the review, but like there were like a few girls on the trip as well, but they like had their own camp, and they were kind of dealing with their own stuff, which of course we never got to hear, like, you know, what was going on at their camp, because, you know, the book was told from Billy's point of view. First person, should we say. But yeah, he encountered, he was talking with like two other girls, Dawn and Dory, I believe were their names. But I believe in the TV episode, he was only talking with one of them, and I think it might have been Dawn. I don't know. And also their meeting place was different too. Like, in the book, they mentioned like this whole thing called a forbidden bunk, which in the book I believe two of his friends, you know, ended up going to. But wow, the lights just went dark just like that. But anyways, in the and there we go again. But in the TV episode, Billy actually does go to the forbidden bunk, and that's where he meets Dawn. And funny enough, like in the TV episode, this is where he finds out that like all the letters that, you know, him and the other kids were sending to their parents never got delivered were. Even though in the book, the letters were being held at like some sort of mail center. Like I said before, it's really interesting how like the TV episode differed almost, you know, like I would say like about 70% of like, you know, no, not 70%, what am I talking about? But like 30% of the book was like completely cut out from like, you know, the TV episode based off of it. So yeah, I just found that, you know, kind of interesting. You know, unlike the Haunted Mask, which stayed mostly faithful, and Camp Nightmare only got like, you know, some things right. And now for like, you know, one of the more contrasting, you know, differences between, you know, both the book and the TV episode was Billy's camp counselor Larry. In the book, you know, whenever Billy would ask him questions about like, oh, you know, where's this camper? What's going on here? You know, Larry, you know, would just say, you know, oh, I'm not sure about this, or, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, Larry was, you know, kind of a chill guy. I mean, he still acted weird, you know, he still like wouldn't like give out full answers to everything, but like, you know, he didn't seem like a bad character. The TV episode though, the TV episode made him like such, excuse my language, they made him such a douchebag. Like, in the TV episode, that guy was like so unlikable. Like I wanted to like punch the guy in the face, because like he was like kind of a jerk, you know. In the TV episode, he didn't like give a shit about anything. So yeah, he was portrayed a little bit better in the book, in my opinion, which is why I'm gonna say this right now. I do prefer the book version of Welcome to Camp Nightmare over the TV episode. Which the TV episode, not the worst, you know, it's definitely better than something like My Hairiest Adventure, which I'll definitely do a review on the book at some point. But yeah, it's not the worst episode of Goosebumps TV show, but like compared to its book counterpart, it's just not that great, honestly. But the book's all right up until the ending. It definitely left you like wondering what's going on throughout the whole entire thing, like where everybody is, you know, what's going on and all that. Besides the ending, Welcome to Camp Nightmare is really solid Goosebumps book, which if it wasn't for the ending, I would give it like, you know, a pretty high score. But for the time being, I'm going to give Welcome to Camp Nightmare a rating of 8.5 out of 10. So that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed my review of Welcome to Camp Nightmare. And I guess in some ways kind of a semi-review of the TV show episode as well. Probably not going to do a full in-depth review of that anytime soon, especially since I don't have any DVDs of Goosebumps, and obviously Netflix is getting rid of Goosebumps next week, which is really unfortunate. But hopefully you enjoyed my review of Welcome to Camp Nightmare regardless. And stay tuned for any more Goosebumps book reviews coming up, or just any other content at all on this channel. And with that being said, this is Tyler from the Other Games channel, signing out.